professionalinvestor.com's daily brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hey everyone, welcome back to our market review for Monday morning. Where are we here? It is the 26th of June, so June's almost gone here now. Of course, old man took the past week off, so hope you all didn't miss me too much in my absence, but here we are, 26th of June, coming into month end, and it's kind of weird. This is almost a funny little vacuum period. I would imagine most of most of the world has a big holiday here on the 1st of July, which is kind of weird. Does that mean that Friday is going to be a holiday? Usually they don't have like the big government holidays and stuff after the fact. Usually it's before the fact. And then, of course, we've got the Americans. They've got a holiday coming up. Oh, actually, the TRI logo is right over the damn calendar. I didn't even notice that. What happens if I expand that? Maybe it'll move. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's better. Okay, so you can see it. Sorry. So back to my funny little rant here. So in the coming week, we're going to have a really weird sort of, my hunch is, a weird sort of trading sessions. And not a hell of a lot. I mean, we're outside of earnings season now, so we're not going to be seeing the market being driven by, either huge blowouts to the upside or downside when it comes to earnings reports. And we're also in a funny little window here with regard to Econs. If anything, from what I understand, while I was gone last week, the Fed came out and reiterated that they're certainly not done raising interest rates. They still plan, I think, to do 2 more rate increases down in the States by year end. So it's over the next 6 months. Maybe it's like once every second month or something. And if I understand correctly, the Europeans now are finally, what a coincidence. I mean, I was in the UK last summer, like literally 1 year ago, and inflation was just absolutely out of control. And, we were doing, I remember I stayed with one guy up there in northern UK, Stoned Ape. It's such a cool name. Anyway, I hope you're doing well up in Robin Hood land. That was fun. And, it was just remarkable to see the inflationary pressures all around the UK happening. And yet they were doing absolutely nothing with rates. Now, why on earth did they have to wait like a full year before they actually started really attacking this inflation problem in earnest in Europe? And I would tell you, because the whole point of this exercise is the United States as the world's hegemony currency, its interest rates have to be higher than everybody else's. That's just the way it works. And so Americans raise their rates first, and then all of these other countries, they let the inflation absolutely. Don't ever kid yourself, folks. The central banksters are not driven by things like, oh, what's in the best interest of our local population? They have no interest in that whatsoever. It's a cartel, and just like you see how like OPEC oil cartel manipulates prices and stuff to try and set the market up to serve their best interest. Well, the central banksters are no different. And I thought it was really interesting. The reason why I'm sort of mentioning this here now is I woke up this morning and some stupid ECB official is just sitting there at the pulpit, at the podium of some crazy, I didn't even see specifically what it was, but some speech was given out today. The European central bankers, Fabio Panetta, whoever the hell that is, ranting on and on about how horrible cryptocurrencies are and how, they've lost $1 trillion in market cap over the past year or two. Well, duh, if you're so stupid as to buy a market that's gone parabolic straight up and the market comes back down into reload zones, what typically is supposed to happen, technically speaking, yeah, the market is going to lose a bunch of value because it's a speculative asset. This is venture cap. But, the point here is that, this guy at no time whatsoever did he ever talk about like value of a Bitcoin or what the cost of production is. And the fact that the price of a Bitcoin at 65,000 was like literally like what, 5, maybe even 10 times the base cost of production for a lot of like very large Bitcoin miners. It never mentioned anything like that, just mentioned about how evil crypto is and how it should be outlawed and all that. So you have to ask yourself, what the hell's going on here? Why would this clown go on and make such an audaciously stupid statement that any half decent market technician would go, yeah, you bought Bitcoin at $65,000? Well, that was kind of a dumb move. Way to go. You must have been listening to guys who say technical analysis doesn't matter. I mean, are you really a market professional or what? So I'm not quite sure what the ECB's motivations are here. But, we kind of, we talked a little bit about this in the broiler chicken show yesterday. And I just wonder whether maybe somebody was sort of like, okay, the BlackRock sort of news event last week just made the market just surge like crazy. And it actually broke, a key resistance level here on the weekly charts. And I wonder whether somebody's like, okay, well, you got to slow this thing down. Right? Somebody say something over there. Somebody make some sort of speech or something. And it's so perfectly apt for the Europeans here. And, like talk about cartels. The leader of the European central banking cartel is not even a bankster. She's a goddamn lawyer by trade. So it just shows you how, I might, and the tweet that I put out was, I would, frankly speaking, I think you should remove crypto and replace with Lagarde about being horribly corrupt and not really in the public's best interest, and you'd actually have a more accurate statement. So, I mean, if anything, I'm saying it with a smile on my face. I'm not like, this motherfucker. So, I always tell people, this is why you need to go on vacation every once in a while. If you don't laugh, you're going to cry. So you might as well laugh because life's too short to spend your whole damn life crying. But, let's call a spade here, So anyway, that's sort of the kind of thing that jumped out at me first thing this morning is somebody was given direction to stop this crypto bull in its tracks. And ironically enough, with the amount of momentum coming out of that BlackRock event, I don't actually know whether they really can stop the momentum. I did say yesterday in the free video that, where's the best place to show you this? Where did I have this? One of these windows. One of these windows is not like the other. No, it's not that one. You can totally tell I've been on vacation for a week. I don't even have my head on straight. I guess it was this. Isn't that interesting? Something doesn't seem right about this. What have I done here? No, it's not that one. No. Oh, well. Maybe I put the window away. Anyway, I have normally a 3 chart breakdown. I'm wondering whether maybe this was it. BTC USD. Let's see what happens when I punch this up here. So I usually do it on stamp. Here's a whole bunch of gobbledygook. No, this isn't it. Well, I guess I lost the darn window. That's a little bit of a disappointment. Sorry, everyone. Caught me kind of flat-footed. Of course, I often do this, don't I? I don't know what to do for you. Okay, well, let's just ad lib here. I guess I'll just try and walk you through this here, just what I was saying earlier. Maybe actually I might even have it over here. There's the weekly analysis. Maybe let's see what happens when we do that. Nope, that didn't work. All right, well, let's try again. What I wanted, actually, that's the kind of the image I wanted to see. We talked a little bit yesterday about how potentially this could be an inside bar, and actually the inside bar did fire. So I think that the bull has been sort of put on pause. That's a pretty darn big move, eh? Then also too, which is super cool. We have scripts that are written by site members, and this one, this MAB divs. I love this script. It's such a cool script. You can see the divergences that was starting to form. We had 6 of them coming out of yesterday, which is a bit suspect. I don't know where the level oneers are right now, but if anything, if they've done volume analysis, level twoers, level 3, 4 now. Geez, we got so many courses here at TRI. We got one big volume spike. We got 2 big volume spikes to the upside. Is that enough of a volume spike there to give us a 3? Maybe. What this would mean is this thing will actually officially, the bulls will officially fall asleep if we now get a up volume bar less than whatever the low is here. Looks like that's the low, and that's 110 Bitcoins in a 4-hour period. Geez, that seems awfully small. Anyway, so yeah, looks like that's the number. So you can see the M top there in the OBV. They always say volume speaks volumes. You can see the 3 lower highs in the volume bars. I just don't know whether that's enough to actually say that's a number 3. But at the same time too, you can also see that the down volume, the bears, if you will, they were ramping up. So as the bulls were sort of calming down, you could see the bears were ramping up, but then the bears kind of fallen asleep here as well. Actually, we'll get a signal that the bears fallen asleep if we do less than 123 Bitcoins here on a 4-hour basis. And the last bar there, they did 133. So didn't quite fall asleep, but getting pretty darn close. Everybody's sort of, we're just going to take a nice little nap here. And that kind of makes sense because what I kind of said yesterday was, huge move up. Algo went uber bullish there. And actually I was quite surprised. The team, we had a late team meeting last night, so I didn't really get to bed too early, and it's Monday. So Monday futures trading wise, don't really do a heck of a lot of activity. So I didn't really, first day back after a vacation, I'm not going to go and risk a bunch of money in the market day trading. I got to get sort of back into the rhythm first. And actually, I didn't even check in. Chris, was there any opening range trades for you today? Or I think I heard that you kind of were a bit on pause today as well, eh?
No opening range trades for me today. Didn't look like anything was out there as far as opportunities
All
early on.
right. Yeah. So interestingly enough, kind of like what we're seeing out of Bitcoin, and if when in doubt, they always say volume speaks volume. So let's just listen to volume. Of course, we have these bear divs in MACD, bear div in RSI, really ridiculously, stupidly overbought. And I even said yesterday that I would even entertain the idea of actually being short off this double top here and just let the market work. But this is 4-hour chart. So, unless you really understand what the hell you're doing on things like swing trading, lower time frame trading, maybe refrain from getting too aggressive, especially being on Monday. The weekly analysis was the shorts got blown out here. And now we're just sort of sitting in pause mode. You can see on the weekly basis, the moving averages are still pointing up. So on a higher time frame basis, we're still a bull. The only question here is, did this go maybe a little too far, too fast? You can see now this is the weekly chart. This is going to create potentially an inside bar right there. So really, we probably have to wait for this whole week to finish here. And then, like I said there a few minutes ago, heading into a really wonky end of the week here. So with the US holiday being like literally the middle of next week, and then all the rest of the world holiday, the actual July 1st falls on the weekend. So where exactly is that holiday? it's going to be a funny couple weeks here. So if anything, it kind of makes sense that the market's on pause. I like to go through a fairly regular routine. Of course, it's Monday. So I always want to take it very slow on Mondays anyway. Usually Monday's a non sort of day trading day. And actually, FYI, somebody had suggested recently, and I thought it was a really good idea, that we try and just do this more as sort of like a video broadcast and post to the site. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, they say something like 70 to 80% of all trends in sort of the broader market, well, Forex, major commodity markets, they don't really get put in until like Tuesday, Wednesdays, which is pretty typical. So somebody had suggested maybe we do like a video, like a recording for sort of maybe Wednesday evening with that weekly commodity trend survey. I don't really see any new signals here of note, but a couple markets that did sort of jump out at me on the commodities, of course, are natural gas. We've been talking lots about how that really is trying to point back up. And then also too, actually interesting, wheat has fallen out of the really attractive area. Cotton still seems to be somewhat attractive. I don't know whether you guys are really into trading commodities or not, but that natural gas sure looks attractive here. Wondering, we're probably in the after party, we'll go into these signals a little bit more, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe Wednesdays we do a video that's just uploaded to the site that's just specifically talks about the commodity trend survey. So maybe look for that down the road as well too. You can see that the stock market breadth itself, very wonky image, but nonetheless, fast is pointing down, slow is trying to catch up. I would even argue that when we oscillate around this 50 line for all the new people that have sort of signed up to the breadth indicator, you're going to, don't just go and trade this right out of the gate. My recommendation for everybody has been for the longest time that you use the breadth indicator as that second reason to justify taking a trade, right? It goes location, indicator confirmation, price structure, go. So you want to wait for like a buy signal when the market's down oversold, and then hunt setups off of your charts, W's, key reversals, all that kind of fun stuff when we're down here. Great idea. And same thing on the other side, hunt shorts when we're overbought. Okay, fine. But what the heck do you make out of this right now? I mean, we were kind of not really overbought. Interesting how the slow did poke its head over to the overbought zone. And usually when slow does get overbought or oversold, that's when, there's probably going to be some reversal. Right now, we're just I think we're in no man's land here. And actually, when I went through my day trading routine, you just have to sort of get used to this. I've sort of talked to you guys. There's some people that have asked me to run as sort of a day trader boot camp. What should your trade sort of trading day look like? How do you set yourself up to come to the market on a daily basis? That's what this spreadsheet was all about. And basically, there is basically the first half of 2023. Actually, I guess after the first quarter. So that's a full quarter of day trading reporting. I mean, this is basically what a trader's life is all about. So I go through my routine, and I did find it interesting that it is a Monday. It is the middle of the summer. Most of the professionals, they're actually gone. They're up in the Hamptons or cottage country or whatever you want to call it now. Not really interested in like the hard shill of the stock market. They'll come back after Labor Day weekend. Right now, I think if anything, we're transitioning into the summer market, which is great because summer markets, I mean, you guys love your crypto. You know what happens in the summertime. All the boys are down in mom's basement on the computers. So, we are transitioning into that summer trading environment. But notice, and really when NML to me stands for no man's land. And if anything, interestingly enough, I think this actually corresponds really well with the breadth signal that we're getting. And then also too, if we scroll down to the histogram, I don't see anybody egregiously overbought or oversold here. We're not really at extremes. We're kind of just dancing around again what I would call no man's land. And if anything, the only market that really jumps out at me here on this is it looks like the bond market is oversold in the short term. I don't really have any extremes here, and I'm an extreme kind of trader. If anything, in this kind of environment, what I want to see are bullish and bearish bot setups or trend continuation trades. That's the trade that I think is probably going to be predominant. I mean, should we be, if we use crypto as an example, we've got crypto slightly positive in the short term. Of course, you all saw what happened last week. I guess that makes sense. But on the medium term, we're actually still, not really anything to write home about. So could we have a nice little consolidation on the weekly or, on the daily charts, 4-hour charts that sets this up, that this pushes higher, and that'll drag crypto up into sort of the positive zone. And then, probably middle to the end of the summer, August, maybe early September, you look at the histogram and everything's uber embedded bullish. Totally. That would make sense to me. And that, of course, would set up an extreme trade. So the whole point of my rant here is that we're kind of just stuck in no man's land right now. This is not really the time to place huge bets in the marketplace. So as you can see, right across the board for me, and energy, reading the rags, the talk is that, God, have you guys ever heard me say the expression, you can't write better fiction than reality? I mean, if somebody sat down 5 years ago and said, please give me a prediction of what's going to happen in Eastern Europe, could you have written any better story than what you've seen happen over the past year or two with that absolute train wreck of a country called Russia? I mean, it's almost getting to the point of embarrassment for them. I mean, this is supposed to be the big Cold War adversary that everybody in the West was worried about. I mean, it's kind of sad the way that Russia is just completely imploding on itself. So, poor old Russians. I mean, the one thing I'll say about the Russians is they are stunningly arrogant. So if anything, hopefully this will cut them down to size and just, maybe they'll eat a big pile of humble pie here or something. But the point of the matter here is that these kind of markets are being clearly driven by the geopolitics. And you heard me yesterday barking about how wheat prices were starting to look attractive down at the bottom end of their range. No real structure to work with. But same sort of thing, crude oil here. I mean, number one, I don't really have anything to work with. If, and it's a big if, this oil can get back above $72, $73 a barrel, then great, we got a big honking W to work with and away we go. But frankly speaking, I got nothing here. And coming out of the gate first thing Monday morning, there's not really anything to do here. And if anything, all you oil bulls, you better be careful here, because if this is an A to B, and then we project, we got one high, we got two highs. Is somebody maybe thinking about bearish bot setups? A third high here will probably set up a nice trend continuation trade to the downside. So, I'm a big fan of trading at extremes, even on the lower time frames. If you drew a fib from this low back up to this high, what do you think the odds are that a reload short zone is up in this area? We also have a ATR level up in this area. And, look left, probably this wick up here needs some addressing. And then you got all these previous highs. Somebody obviously stepped in and stopped the bull on these moves. So if I was going to short crude up in this sort of 71.75, 72 area, that's where I'd be thinking. And maybe this is like an A, B, C, D that takes us up into there. Conversely, and like I said, if we do start to melt down and start to actually make 3 lower highs, then actually I can start justify thinking about trend continuation trades to the downside. But first thing out of the gate here, first thing Monday morning, there's nothing for me to do here. Just got to let that slowly develop. Same sort of thing in gold. You're going to see a reoccurring theme. It's I guess now we're officially into summer, aren't we? Gold did bump into a major support line here. So it is interesting to see how we pivoted off of that. We gapped higher here coming out of the weekend, but we gapped right into moving average resistance. Here's a really good example, candle body highs for trade location. So not a big surprise we failed here, but it's Monday morning. Do you really want to push uphill here? I don't see anything really dramatic to do here. If anything, I think we're just seeing more consolidation. And then kind of like just like crude, it's not nearly as clear cut because we do have some support lines down in here, but you could say A to B, this huge move here, and then one high, two highs. If we get a third high and then a fail, we might be setting up trend continuation trade to the downside there. So that's probably way too early to make that supposition. What I would just simply say is, let's watch this gap level here over the next few sessions. Do we get lower time frame trades? I might go hunting for some longs down in this area through, Tuesday, Wednesday, kill zones, that kind of thing. But today, Monday, right out of the gate, I got nothing to work with. If anything, what I like to call this is a moving average sandwich. So you can see how the moving averages are just trapping price here. So nothing to do on the gold. And then lastly, stock market did bang into some fairly substantial tails here. And it looks like the tails, somebody stepped in and bought this market up when it dipped down into these levels, bought the market up. So there must be some sort of demand down in this area. So not a big surprise. We're running into some buying here. This also too, off of just this range alone, is a mountain man level. It's the top of our reload zone, 61.8 fib. Don't even really have any fog and bombs, no chaos theory kind of action, kind of like Bitcoin. And interesting how gold and Bitcoin are moving in very opposite directions these days. But this was just a V top, straight up, straight down, kind of going along the, actually, this is the stock market, not gold, I beg your pardon. But the point here was that, of course, there was FOMC meetings and then that options expiry. You heard me go on and on and on yesterday about how, it's almost funny, especially going back to this kind of nonsense. It's almost funny listening to all these cartels, they theoretically, the people, the smart money and all that kind of stuff, they're just as corrupt as any crypto kid. Don't kid yourself. They manipulate markets exactly the same way crypto markets are manipulated. It's just that they know the rules. And, you got Lagarde and even Powell himself is a lawyer by trade. He's not a banker by trade. So, they're going to say all the legalese things to make them sound legal and legit and stuff, but they're just as corrupt as any other market. And I went on at length yesterday about the fact that I think that this was an incredibly manipulated market into that June options expiry event. And then once that event had passed, then there really wasn't any need for them to bid the market up. They were very motivated to do that business. And if anything, what they're probably doing now is as the market is melting back down, they're encouraging the public to go and buy a whole bunch of more puts. And then as we get closer and closer into the July options expiry, which will be like way over here. In fact, let's see, where is July? July 1, 2, 3, yeah, 21st of July. In fact, interesting that I do have this on 23rd. So, well, no, I don't. Oh, that's actually when the market should actually start firming up here. That's the July holiday, but 21st, my hunch is you're probably going to see this stock market. And, if you want to try and use this information to trade better, it's not a bad idea. There's Friday, the 21st of July right there. So that's the next options expiry. What do you think the odds are that they're going to sort of swoon the market here, maybe come back into these key support levels, midpoint of the megaphone, moving average support, get everybody buying puts, maybe the media, they'll convince the media to start barking about end of the world and all that crap. And then all of a sudden, out of the first or second week of July, mysteriously, everything's so rosy. And the media now, the talking heads, all that, they're all encouraged to talk about how wonderful everything is. And back up we go into the July options expiry, and all those put options expire worthless. I mean, it's stunningly cliche the way this game goes, folks. So not a big surprise. We're kind of, again, if we think about things like the breadth indicator and stuff, we're kind of stuck in no man's land right now. This isn't really the best place to take a long or a short. And as you can see here, ironically enough, I used to work with a guy that he would religiously just buy that level, that 61.8. He was a very, very professional trader, and I don't think any of you, frankly speaking, hell, I'm not even at the sort of stage, and I've been doing this damn game for 30 years of being a brand and Rego kind of trader. But it doesn't surprise me that the market's finding a bit of support here. Having said that, is this the kind of market that I would step in? Is this the kind of market that I would even suggest that the public, 3 reasons for a trade? Well, we're coming into reason number 1, trade location. We have no indicator confirmation. I mean, at best, maybe there was a little bit of a bull div that formed through here, but do you see any price structure here? Any W's that justify actually acting? No. Do I have anything out of things like RSI to actually suggest that it looks like the market's bottom? If anything, according to our good buddy Seward, he loves working with his Bollinger Band study on RSI. The fact that they are so far apart, I mean, they are, this is contracting, this really isn't, but they're so far apart, that in itself would be reason just to, hey, let everything settle down. When these actually contract and start coming back in, that's when you should be thinking about a new trade. So as it is right now, just if you're going to use something like RSI, there's no reason to do anything here right now. It's just a big hurry up and do nothing. And I kind of, that's see, and if anything, this makes sense too, because, why don't we pop on over and see what the hell's going on in the world? I didn't really, other than the whole Russia nonsense, which is just an absolute soap opera now. I didn't really see a lot of geopolitics that's driving the market. And if anything, probably a lot of people around the world are just going, phew, all right. If Russia's starting to talk about things like civil war, and the odds of them having like an all-out nuclear exchange with the rest of the world, those odds are diminishing by the day. Now, we might have a one-off event, and I got to say there's 6 nuclear reactors there sitting in eastern Ukraine that have a big bullseye. And would it be a surprise to mysteriously one day wake up and find out there was some horrific accident there? And basically there's now a radiation brick wall between eastern Ukraine and Russia, and nobody's going to traverse and live in that area for the next 100 years. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. It would be really tragic for the human species, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. But other than that, yeah, no, we're basically at time here. So I'll just wind this up with this. Thanks for the reminder, Chris. When I actually looked at the news is just, there's nothing really to get excited about. Dallas, and it's so funny, they look at how they sugarcoat this. Remains subdued. Minus 23. That's not subdued. That is blah. That's horrible. So you're not getting any love out of the economy. And it's interesting because while I was talking with the team last night, we kind of talked a little bit about how sort of the broader economy and our customer base, keep in mind, we are running a company now, and how the customer base is feeling right now. If anything, I think probably a lot of people in crypto got a little bit emboldened there over the past week, feeling a little bit more optimistic. I had said yesterday that I didn't see a lot of anecdotal evidence out of things like the altcoins that this was a new bull market. What I just saw was kind of like Bitcoin just working its way higher on some pretty good Bitcoin sort of fundamental driver, but nothing really altcoin. And if anything, like I said there a minute ago, the central banksters out of Europe, they really want to crap on altcoins and the crypto space. But the news, the Econs coming out today, not really a hell of a lot. I think the actual calendar itself, pretty light. So we had German data that came out, basically business time for Europe, and a little bit softer than expectations. Not a big surprise. I would imagine a lot of people in this world are not feeling very optimistic right now. But they always say, folks, just try and keep this in mind. They always say it's always darkest before the dawn, right? So I would actually argue that, and we've said this repeatedly in all these public broadcasts, 2023 is a better accumulation year. And if you understand this game of investing, what you have to do is buy when other people are crying. And then let's see, just the YouTube audience. What are you supposed to do when everybody else is yelling? And, hey, let's all go on Saturday Night Live and talk about how wonderful we are, and boost our egos and stuff, but not actually help the public at all. And at the same time, everybody's talking about, hey, technical analysis doesn't matter. Just buy and you'll get rich. Right? You should be selling. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Nuri. You guys are awesome. So just the point here is that I might actually argue that in the face of all this negativity, just wait for the W's to come in. Just go slowly. I mean, hell, I don't know whether you've seen these geez, what a great sales pitch. On Mondays, we actually go through the dashboard and talk a little bit about what signals that we've seen generated over the weekend. But a week or two ago, I wouldn't buy it now, for God's sakes. Just don't go and willy-nilly buy shit that you see off of these free videos, because I'm not going to show you real-time signals. I'm going to show you after the fact, because my good buddy Eddie told me you're stupid to show these people signals in real time. Get them to fucking pay up here, Brian. But last signal that we had, key reversals, and I love the key reversals, was from Best Buy on the 22nd of May. And I mean, nobody's interested in Best Buy then. And I've talked to you about Intel. Nobody was interested in Intel over here. And look how that damn thing's moved up. Talked to you recently about Toyota Motor Company. I mean, Toyota, Jesus, I can't believe the size of that rally. Man, I even have my bid still working at this red line here. Look at the trade that I missed there, right? God damn. But there's the market's crap right now, and yet there is good old Best Buy, which, as I said, the signal was issued here. For God's sakes, don't go and buy that now. But you tell me. I mean, would you be happy with that kind of move up here? That's a 10% movement now, just off of that signal. I mean, that's the stuff you're here to. Brian wants signals that are valid and that'll make me money from trading. Right, well, that's the shit, but you can't go and buy that now. I mean, the trade's gone. So, there's your market for a Monday morning. Don't really see anything to do here today. I'm a little concerned that we've got a funny, wonky week ahead of us. And if anything, actually, when I was going through and reading the rags this morning, the number one sort of cautionary comment, and I'll leave the free broadcast to that. Like today, like I said, Econs today, basically nothing. News, Pakistan's raising interest rates. Oh boy. Brazilian consumer confidence highest since 2019. Okay. UK retail sales fall for the second straight month. Interesting how the UK is now raising interest rates. That's kind of weird, eh? And then, of course, you heard me barking about natural gas over the weekend. I love natural gas down in here. But if the whole market is swooning and heading lower, and we probably think that that's going to continue on for the next couple of weeks, then it makes perfect sense that natural gas is going to rally in that environment. That's usually what happens. Natural gas is a really good sort of contrarian trade. So just FYI, Nure, and this, if anything you just said there, I'm not going to directly answer questions on these free videos. This is more just sort of broader market commentary. Went a little bit long today, simply because it was Monday and I've been away for a week. And of course, Brian loves the sound of his own voice. So I will answer questions, and we'll go in the after party and we'll take a look at that relationship, Nore, in the after party. That makes complete sense. But I think we'll just leave off this offering here today with what the hell's coming down the pike through the rest of the week. What should we be looking out for? Of course, we've got the liars speaking. I guess the liars are speaking both today and tomorrow. So the liars are going to be absolutely, just foaming at the mouth about how do we somehow stop crypto. And of course, how wonderful they are, but they're just as much of a cartel as OPEC. So don't kid yourself. Interesting how we have Canadian inflation data coming out tomorrow. And of course, it's just go to the grocery store here in Canada. It's ridiculous. But really, I don't think that the really big market moving events, Wednesday, we have the semi-annual Humphrey Hawkins testimony, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is Humphrey Hawkins. Should probably clarify that for tomorrow. I'll just make sure just to confirm that is Humphrey Hawkins. So we've got actually, no, it wouldn't be, because it would be a 2-day event, wouldn't it? I'm not quite sure. This might be one of these semi-annual addresses to the nation. Why on earth they do this, I don't know. But
I believe there's a forum through the ECB in Spain that Kyle's gonna be speaking at this week.
Okay. All right. So this is fluff. This is not Humphrey Hawkins. Sorry about that, folks. Thank you for the clarification, Chris. But they're, what are they going to be saying? They're going to be saying, well, we're committed on fighting inflation. Bullshit. You ever seen Animal House when the Faber, the principal's name, I can't remember his name. Anyway, think of Animal House. Bullshit. So they're going to be talking about how wonderful of a job they're doing, but of course they're always wrong. But I think probably the biggest market moving event actually doesn't come until Friday, where we have, of course, the Fed's favorite inflation gauge, the personal consumption expenditure price index, which of course the whole thing is a total fraud. Inflation is far, far worse than any government sponsored data points, but they like to finesse the data to make it, of course, look and usable the way they want it. But nonetheless, this is their favorite gauge. In fact, you know what? I'm going to leave off the video today with actually a YouTuber, and I was super impressed. But if you're a Canadian, this is going to depress the hell out of you. I know I liked it, but actually, you know what? I'll show it to you guys in the after party. All right. So point here is probably not going to have anything really market moving until Friday, but at the same time too, that's going to be heading into a US holiday weekend and, a world holiday weekend. So this is going to be kind of a funny week here. So just be prepared, folks. Okay, I think I'll leave the free broadcast at that. Sure, hope you enjoyed it, got some sort of value out of it. Geez, 40 minutes, that was way too long. Got to somehow get this under control. But I had to talk lots about how my getting back into the routine. So, okay, why don't we leave it at that? Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Hope you got some value out of that. All the best. Have yourselves a great day. We'll see you all again, I guess, tomorrow. The only thing left, Brian, is bye for